So I always wanted to create my own project. I mean, for years, I had played with the idea of writing my own songs and releasing my own visuals, and I just sat on it. And finally, I said enough is enough, and I did it. And it was the best thing I could have ever done. I found myself in a position of constantly trying to make things work, trying to make things happen, trying to be better, and I realized that the best thing I could do was absolutely nothing. And the best thing I could do for myself was to relax. And when I was still, that's when I wrote. When I was still, that's when I prayed. When I was still, that's when I healed. And when I was still, I created a whole project. Writing the songs had its own energy. Writing the music was its own joy. I remember when I wrote the song Still, I wrote it on the studio floor. And as soon as I finished the last lyric, I just started bawling, crying. And the producer ended up sitting on the floor with me, and we just had this whole moment of release where we felt like we were finally walking in our purpose, that we were in alignment. And it just felt like a deep exhale. And I feel like that's what music is to me. And that's what this album was to me. It was a huge exhale. Dauché Bates, who is a woman of many talents, was actually my production assistant the entire project. And we shot 3 visuals in one day. And I couldn't have done it without Dauché. Shooting Ode to the Petty was so much fun. I got to bring a lot of my folks on set, and more importantly, I got to have the beautiful Jasmine Latrice, who did ASL. And we had this vision of having ASL in the video. For the album cover, I knew that I wanted to show the emotions in which I was writing in. When I write my songs, I light my candles, I'm in my bedroom, it's a really intimate time, and so I wanted to capture that as well for the album cover. But once the full album was out, we dropped a very special piece of merchandise that to this day is just my biggest pride and joy, other than my son. It was a lyric book. I'm old school, and I loved going to Sam Goody, Towered Records, and buying physical albums so that I could get the lyric booklet. And I remember sitting on my bedroom floor reading the lyrics of these albums and wanting to learn them. You know, this was before you could just Google the lyrics. And so I wanted to bring that nostalgia back with my album. And so we created the lyric book. Once the album came out, we were blessed with so many opportunities to perform the songs live. And I remember the first time I performed the songs live was for a private album release I had for my friends and family. And when the band and I had our first rehearsal, when I heard Note to Self live for the first time, it was like watching your baby take its first breath, and I started crying on the spot. It was a beautiful moment of like, this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do in life. But the opportunity that hit us that I wasn't expecting and didn't even think to imagine was the San Diego Music Awards. My album was nominated for Best R&B Soul Album of the Year, and in addition, I was asked to perform at the San Diego Music Awards. I was not only the only woman of color to perform that night, I was actually the first Black woman to ever perform at the San Diego Music Awards. And the energy from the crowd, the energy from the band, again, was a moment and a reminder from God that this is it, that you are supposed to be doing music at some capacity, and you have to keep writing. In Her Stillness challenged me, it pushed me, but I have not one regret. I loved being vulnerable. I loved using music to tell my side of the story. Music has been a part of my life since I was 4 years old, and I treated it like a hobby for years. In Her Stillness was the first time I owned my artistry. It was the first time I owned being a visionary, being a creative. And I'm proud to say now when people ask me, what do you do? I'm an artist. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I love it here.